is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden and joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ashton. Today, we're giving you the rare Stay Hot fantasy episode. Matt's raising his hand in the recording right now. I can. New feature in Riverside. Matt can raise his hand, ask a question like he's in a classroom, which, you know, checks out. He recently turned 15, starting his sophomore year of high school. I know it's an exciting time for him. But, of course, before we get into this rare fantasy episode, we're doing overrated and underrated, sleepers and busts for this upcoming fantasy football season. Of course, we've got the legendary Stay Hot 32-team fantasy league to worry about. But, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing on this beautiful, Wednesday afternoon? I forgot what day it was for a second.
Well, Theo, you're in a new location, clearly, so that has to be point of order here.
I've recorded here once before. It's the Denver Public Library. I realized I wasn't going to make it home in time for the record, so I stopped at the front desk and I requested a private room so I could talk and wouldn't get hushed by a strict librarian. So they had one open, so I just popped in here.
I think it would be very funny just you like recording out in the open in the library.
I did that last time because there was absolutely nobody on my floor. But this time it was more busy, so I decided to see if they had any rooms available. And they did. So I'm in like a conference room. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Libraries
maybe it's a placebo effect of like seeing the sort of noise absorbing looking wall behind you, but you do sound pretty good. Maybe it's not actually like that, but it looks like that from
I bet I do sound good. I mean, it's probably a better sound quality than in my apartment based on the material of the wall. Hold on.
It's like
yeah.
Listening on. Is it like a felt?
It's felt.
It looks.
Oh yeah.
It's looking like a felt wall.
Maybe I'll do this more.
There was a long stretch of Stay Hot where I was like up against just a plain wall, and I was super reverby.
Yeah.
I should have had like a blanket behind me or something. So there's like a year worth of podcasting that's basically just all trash, I think. But it is what it is.
And it's all your fault.
And it is all my fault, actually. And I should have been yelled at, but
you should have. But you know, we're nicer than that. We don't yell at our co-host here. Theo, how is it being at the library? Libraries rock, in my opinion.
Peaceful. Good place to get work done.
Yeah, very much so. Very much.
Shout out
Matt,
the library.
How are you doing?
I don't got anything in particular today.
Okay. That's all good then. We can get right into the events of today. Got to talk about these fantasy players. Theo, you said you have 1 billion names written down. He took up the entire library's worth of paper in order to do this episode. Give us one fantasy player that you're really excited about. We're going to start with our booms before we get into our busts, our sleepers. Who do you got for us, Theo?
Cool. Yeah, I'll start with just Brock Bowers. And I know that he's the consensus tight end one. I know he's not a sleeper.
And he is one of my busts.
Really?
Oh.
That's interesting. I think that he's a smart get at the top of the draft. I like getting one of the big tight ends this year, and I think Bowers just has such a clear path to being the most productive tight end in the league. I mean, he's such a good receiver. He was so productive and so efficient last year with some of the worst quarterback play in the league, like legitimately a bottom 3 passing attack. And now he's going to get Geno Smith. And I could see him having one of the most productive tight end seasons of all time now. And I think that, like, when you look at the wide receivers, there's obviously some guys at the top. If you have the first overall pick in the draft, take Jamar Chase. And then there's Justin and CD.
I guess my question is, if you're saying he's a sleeper, how high would you take him?
It'd have to be in the first round because his ADP is like 16 or 18 or something.
Yeah, his ADP is 17 from what I wrote down. I think I'd consider him at like 10, 9, 8, 7. Like,
keep going.
I don't know if I'd take him. I think Chase and Jefferson and Lamb I'd all want before him. And then I think I'd want probably Bijan and Saquon and Gibbs. And after that, it's like I'd start to think about Bowers.
This is kind of my thought with Kelsey a few years back, where it was like there's one tight end that I always felt like was worth taking, especially in like PPR leagues, and that was Kelsey. But the reason why Kelsey I felt like was so valuable was because he just got so many damn targets. Like he just gets force fed the ball in a way that I don't know if Bowers will.
Well, Bowers got a lot of targets last year. Target share, Bowers was great on last year.
Okay.
Here's my piece on it. Bowers is currently the overall player 18. Trey McBride is 29. Kittle is 41. All of those guys finished relatively close last year. Bowers averaged 12.2 points a game. Kittle 13.2. McBride 2.1 or 12.1, 13.2. You know, and that's in half PPR. I do not think Bowers going multiple rounds above Kittle and a round above McBride is something that I'm willing to invest in. He might end up the tight end one. I like Bowers a lot. And I understand his quarterback situation has improved, but I think that being in a situation where your team stinks and is throwing the ball a million times is actually not as bad for fantasy as people think. And that is what the Raiders were last year. Now, I don't think they're going to be doing that quite the same, particularly because they drafted Ashton Genty. This team is going to be leaning into the run more than they did last year, for sure. And if there is any bite out of just the overall pass game, even if Bowers' target share stays relatively the same, which I'm not so high on Besh or Myers to think that they're like really going to bite into his target share. But I think you have a pretty decent shot at getting the tight end one in round 3 or in round 4. I feel like those three dudes are the tier 1 for me. And while, Bowers did amazing as a rookie, I think there's a little bit of like implied growth from the rookie season statistically. And I think that's more than priced in right now. So I think as a league winner move, I feel like it's just more likely to be like getting Kittle or or McBride later rather than like banking on the best case scenario for Bowers super early.
Like in terms of good value. I'm looking at it right now in terms of like overall finishes, right? Not positional finishes. Brock Bowers was 15, McBride was 20, Kittle was 24, Jonnu Smith was 28, and Travis Kelce was 29. And then the difference in where they're being drafted overall right now is like staggeringly different compared to those finishes.
I think with Bowers, though, like he's going from such a bad situation to a good one, though, and he's already number 1. So the gap is just going to widen. Like
he's number 1 in the sense that like he didn't miss a game and Kittle and McBride missed a game. He's basically, he's 2 almost tied for 3.5 PPR in terms of just straight up points. And I don't know. Like I think Kittle's situation or McBride's situation is just as good, if not better, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think there's a lot of room for the Raiders to run the ball more. And I think that like being, again, in a bad situation with a bad quarterback, sure, who's constantly dumping it off to the tight end or whatever, is not like some horrible situation. It's bad in terms of winning games. It's not bad in terms of producing for fantasy. Okay, let me give you an example. Last year in half-point PPR, Jerry Jeudy was wide receiver 15. Why? Not because he had a good quarterback situation, but because the Browns stunk and threw the ball a ton. Jerry Jeudy isn't somebody that we consider a top 15 wide receiver, and his ADP is probably around like the 30s this year again. Albeit you could maybe be a little bit higher on him, and maybe we'll get to the Browns offense a little bit later. But I think that being in a high pass attempt offense is more important than almost anything else for receivers. I think that Bowers benefited from that a lot. And I think the Raiders either being better or, again, like they're going to lean into the run more. They have Pete Carroll. They drafted Ashton Genty. It would be silly not to expect that. Even if we like Bowers, even if we think he's going to take some big step from last year, although, like it could just be like he kind of repeats what he did in terms of just like where he's at. as a receiver, and that wouldn't be bad at all. He was almost a first-team All-Pro guy, but I just think Bowers multiple rounds over the other tier 1 dudes is too rich for me.
Maybe. But at the same time, yeah, they got Genty, but they also got Geno. So how much is their pass rate really going to change? I mean, the Seahawks are 4th in early down pass rate with Geno since he became the starter. Like, this guy drops back and he airs it out, and getting that might counteract getting Genty. Like, if the pass game is more efficient than the run game, like it would behoove them to throw it a little bit more with Geno. I'm not convinced that the run game is going to spike and they're going to go from 11th in early down pass rate, which is where they were at last year, to like 25th or something like that, because not only did they get Genty, they got Geno.
Yeah, that's true, but the only direction their passing game could head is down in terms of total attempts. No, I mean, they were like top 3.
Yeah, I guess total attempts matters more than the rates for our conversation, doesn't it?
I think so. And maybe it comes down more to like the defense as a whole. And maybe if we don't like the Raiders defensively and we think they're going to get in a bunch of shootouts and they'll have to throw a ton, like Bowers gets back there. I see the path to Bowers having a crazy, crazy year, but I don't know. I just think that there's just as much room for him to not win at this ADP, and for him to be worth it at his ADP, he has to wallop the other 2 guys, and that's a huge ask because McBride and Kittle are great, and again in good situations,
yeah.
I think will be top targets.
And this is another part of it, I guess, is I also think McBride could be taken higher. I think both of those tight ends could be taken a little bit higher than their ADP. So if you miss out on Bowers and you get McBride, that's also not a bad thing to me. But I also think McBride could be taken higher than where his ADP is at. So if I think Bowers is worth the 9th or 10th pick, something crazy like that, I also think that McBride is worth like the 15th or 16th. So
well, then I think that's the take you should have then.
Well,
like,
yeah, but you asked for one
and Kittle
player.
are your sleepers. Like,
yeah. Kittle not so much because he's never played 17 games.
Sure.
So even though I think Kittle is perhaps the best tight end in the league, right? I do think that he's a tier below McBride and Bowers as a fantasy weapon.
Trey McBride had like really horrible touchdown luck. No?
He's been bad in the red zone his whole career.
That's so terrible. That's the 6 touchdowns in 3 years, which is just crazy.
I think that's got
so
to change.
bad. You have to factor that in. I think. I also
Really?
think just. Absolutely right.
I think it's going to change. Like I'm like
it could, but here's the thing. I guess going back to the main point. Fair enough. McBride, maybe the touchdown luck gets better. Although there's some dudes who just don't get touchdowns. Shout out Andre Johnson.
Shout out Julio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
McBride can make that up in PPR though.
Sure, McBride, absolutely. But then what I would say, and I'm not down on McBride, but I would say is, if I believe in the upside of McBride having an 8 touchdown season or whatever, like not even crazy, just solid, that could make him a special tight end 1 type of season, and I can get it around later. Kittle is always a little banged up, but to be fair, he hasn't played less than 15 games since 2021, where he played 14.
Yeah,
so
true. It's always just a small.
The health is pretty good, and like the receiver situation in San Francisco being kind of makes me feel better about him in terms of just seeing the targets. The risk with Kittle is that he hasn't seen triple-digit targets since 2019. Now he's got that outlier efficiency, of course, but like that is crazy that Kittle doesn't get more targets than that. He's only had over 110 targets once in his career, so he definitely needs a little bit of. Like if he can just see the ball more because there's fewer receiving options, he can be special as well. And again, you can get him at pick 41 versus 18 for Bowers. That's 2 full rounds lower.
Yeah, it is, but he's also 31, and Bowers just might be a little different. He might be a little different. Kittle's never been tight end 1 in his career. Bowers has already done it, and has the potential to
Kittle wasn't tight end 1 in 18.
Steven up. No. Bowers has already done it and has a chance to build on that. So I think with Bowers, he'll end up being the better fantasy tight end at the end of his career, certainly. All around, I don't know, but
we will see. Speaking of tight ends, I've got a good sleeper for you. I like David Njoku as one of my sleepers. Yes. He's going as tight end 10 right now. Here's the thing. Cleveland offense, very scary because they have currently, I think, 9 quarterbacks on the roster, and you don't know what it's going to be like week to week, other than we have the sneaking suspicion that it's probably going to be a number of different guys throughout the year. So we don't expect consistency or good play. Maybe you believe in like a Shedeur Sanders, but from a fantasy perspective, banking on, anybody who isn't a first-round draft pick at QB or Joe Flacco or Watts obviously is silly. The thing about the Browns, however, is that I believe they threw the most of any team last year. They threw an absolutely absurd number because they weren't a very good team, and they're probably not going to be a very good team this year. They've consistently been higher in terms of pass attempts for a couple of seasons now than you'd expect, and you want to take advantage of that. The first thought is maybe you go Jerry Jeudy. His ADP, I had it up, but I lost it. I mean, he was
one of the guys I wrote down.
He's one of the guys, and it makes sense. I don't think Jeudy is a bad pick where he is because, again, I went to scoring instead of ADP, but it's super, super low. He's at 31. Okay, so maybe a hair higher than I thought, but still not bad. The thing about Jeudy, however, is that he only was really producing when Jameis was the starting quarterback. Jameis obviously being somebody who really pushes the ball down the field, gets super, super aggressive, isn't afraid to throw it into coverage and have some interceptions, of course, and that's good for fantasy and it's good for Jeudy, but outside of that, his production was only okay. So it does feel like maybe, a downfield receiver who needs a little bit more help from the quarterback, who isn't just like a complete one-of-one stud, needs a better quarterback situation than maybe a tight end who is more of a safety valve, who has been a lot more consistent with bad quarterback play, and Njoku being top 5 in points per game over the last 2 years when he's been on the field. And I think if you get like a bunch of fresh faces in there, I have more faith that they're going to be dumping it off to the tight end like rookie quarterbacks like to do or like fresh faces like to do, rather than them like really having a connection with Jerry Jeudy, which would probably be easier to be off. So I don't hate Jeudy as a pick, but I really like Njoku as maybe the guy who ends up getting a ton of targets because it's just easier to throw to the tight end, who's also a screen option, right? So I'm a big fan of Njoku.
They did bring in Harold Fannin, though.
They did bring in Harold Fannin. I just don't think that Fannin is going to be the same type of player that Njoku is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fannin is getting drafted in the
it's
300s.
Like yeah, it's
and Fannin's a decent pick there, but I mean, if he's in the game, it'll be 12 personnel, and David Njoku will still have a chance to get the ball. I'm with you on that. I think all the Browns pass catchers are honestly a little underrated because, yeah, they pass a lot, and no one wants to invest in the Browns offense, sort of understandably so. But it's gotten to the point.
Passing EPA in the NFL by a staggering amount.
It is, but they don't.
It's scary how bad it is.
But passing EPA doesn't win you fantasy games, and all of the players on their team have, at one point or another, vastly outproduced where they're at in their ADPs, and the passing attack has never been good. So clearly they're capable of it. So I kind of like all the Browns. I like Jeudy, I like Njoku, I like Fannin, I like I even like Cedric Tillman a little bit in the 50s. He'll be the opposite starter next to Jeudy.
I love some Cedric Tillman.
He had a 6-game run as a starter last year and was pretty productive. He had 8 receptions for 81 yards, 7 for 99, 6 for 75, 3 for 47, 2 for 28, and then he was shut down for the rest of the season. He had 3 touchdowns mixed in there. So he's getting drafted as wide receiver 50 or beyond that.
It's like 60. It's
yeah. So I wrote him down too, because who knows what the Browns pass, they got so many quarterbacks, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe one of them
Cedric Tillman would be a wide receiver 1 in the 32 team. fantasy league.
Oh my God, wide receiver one.
He would be a league winner, man.
Maybe he'd be a league winner, but not as a wide receiver one. But he's
in the 32 team. He might be
a league winner. Is the wide receiver one is different than like
in the
he could potentially be.
Yes.
Well, a league winner or like getting up to like the 32nd most points among a wide receiver. Because if he's your wide receiver one and he gets 30th in points, that's not really a league winning type.
Yeah, that's a Puka Nacua is a league winner as a wide receiver one. Like back when
I guess that's true. Jalen Hurts was my league winner last year, so
yeah.
You had Saquon too as well, or who did you have?
No, I didn't have.
You had like James Cook and Montgomery or something.
Yeah, I had some dogs, but I didn't have Saquon. That would have been crazy getting Hurts and Saquon. But
this is all to say I like
Browns weapons.
I like Njoku, and that's my bet for the Browns offense. The running back situation, I don't know. I think they could be really bad at running the ball. I guess Judkins at 28 is a little bit lower than I thought he would be. So if you want to take him, go ahead and take him. But I think the Browns could get in a lot of shootouts, and there's other guys
Judkins
there. And
barring
off the field
potential suspension, of course.
Right.
No, well, not even barring that. I'm saying I'm kind of low on him. So
yeah. Well, I'm not going to pick a Browns player for my first sleeper. I'm going to pick. You know, it really is. Not many would see this coming. I'm taking Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I had Dak / Pickens down for me. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I'm like, what are we talking? Like the guy that like he played 8 games last year is the year before was an MVP caliber season, and they added George Pickens. I'm like, how in the world is he below Brock Purdy, Jared Goff? Justin Fields is like, I get Justin Fields like the rushing upside, of course.
The rushing upside is better.
Dak Prescott led the league in touchdowns 2 years ago.
I'm not disagreeing with you. And I think some of the guys who are going ahead of Dak, like I think they can do fine or whatever. But like, yeah, last time we saw a full season of Dak, he was dang near quarterback 1. He's definitely got it within him to throw enough. Like the Cowboys, even last year, I think they were top 3 in passing attempts. Now, granted, they've got a new, a whole new scheme coming in and whatever. But my big thing is I think the Cowboys' rushing game is going to be bad because I think their running backs stink. People are a little bit scared to feel like that. At least I know I am personally, where it's like, well, running backs don't really set the tone for the rushing game. And I think usually that's true. But I mean, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders is like a really, really terrible combo. And Blue isn't somebody who I was like particularly high on as like somebody who's going to come in and just take over that backfield. So I think there's a real possibility where it's like the offensive line, is fine, but the running backs aren't great and they lean more on Dak and Pickens. And I do think absolutely like people just don't like picking Dak because he's Dak. And he's injured. He's had an injury.
Wait, what does that mean?
It means they're yeah, because he's Dak.
It's just like because he's got the star on his helmet, like.
A little bit, like absolutely, yeah. It's like he's got sort of the playoff choker, like how good is he really type of like distinction from a lot of fans out there. And in reality, like he's super, super productive when he's healthy. Granted, when he's healthy, and it doesn't really matter if he's any good in the playoffs because your season in fantasy is done by then. And also, how much can you take away from a handful of playoff games? As far as Pickens goes, I think he's super talented. I think people are kind of scared of him. On top of it just being the Cowboys, people are scared of him because of like the Steelers trading away the wide receivers and then them turning bad. But I just think there's like too few examples of that for me to really buy into that trend. That kind of just feels like something that's superstitious rather than like a real data point to work off of. Whereas Pickens, I think, is like Pickens is more talented than Chase Claypool. I don't feel like that's crazy to say.
He's more talented than Juju. Like,
well, Juju was pretty dang good the years
Juju was good, Juju was,
and
really
Antonio
good,
Brown.
like,
Antonio Brown like
went in.
I understand that Pickens has like a reputation as a little bit of a head case, and maybe you end up being right there, but I don't think he's Antonio Brown. Regardless, I think he's going to get a lot of good matchups with CD there as well. I think it's good for both of them. I think it gives Dak enough weapons to really cook in the passing game because one of the Cowboys' biggest issues is that like their wide receiver depth outside of CD is just not good enough to go and compete against NFL secondaries, and it makes everything more difficult. So the hope is Pickens goes from an offense with a bad quarterback that didn't throw to an offense with a really good quarterback that does throw and doesn't even have to be wide receiver 1, which is awesome.
Yep.
That's better for CD because he doesn't get double teamed. And it's better for Dak because now they can really go and beat everybody. So I like the Cowboys passing attack. I think they're going to have to throw a lot again. I believe in the talent across their best 3 players. And I don't think the offensive line is going to be such a disaster that it like blows everything up, which is, to me, all you would need for me to be buying in from a fantasy perspective.
Right. I mean, Pickens is getting drafted like right around the same spot as Chris Godwin. And I feel like Godwin's in a much worse situation in Tampa.
Godwin was like wide receiver 2 when he played last year. He was off to a crazy hot start.
He was.
But his injuries he had like really bad ankle issues. I forget exactly what it was.
Rough. And they have a great run game, so like there's a possibility of him.
And there's a lot of receivers there.
Enough touches, and then they've got a billion receivers.
He's on the PUP list, and I'm reading the quote, might not be full speed by week 1.
Oh, dude.
To me, I don't know.
If
I get the upside.
He's getting drafted over Pickens. I can't.
That makes me nervous. That makes me nervous for sure. And for the record, I didn't write him down, but I will bring him up. I think Egbuka is a great pick at like wide receiver 50. I just think he's better than that. I think he's going to see the field a lot.
Is it crazy to think that Egbuka could like beat out Godwin for the wide receiver?
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to do that, but Egbuka is an awesome player. I think Tampa's going to find a way. I mean, Baker produced a ton. I think he's definitely more talented than McMillan to me. I mean, Godwin is going into the season injured. Evans had his injury issues. There's 2 older guys in front of him. And at wide receiver 53, which is what I'm reading him as. Yeah. Like I just like that bet. But he's somebody who I'm picking because I think the bad situation in terms of competition is like mega priced in, and because he's somebody who I just believe in from a talent perspective and have for a while. So I like making picks like that after you see a couple of rookies last year, like Ladd or whoever, produce in spite of like, well, I guess he didn't have a bad situation, but in spite of his ADP not being that high, like I'm down to bet on guys you liked pre-draft if they're going low enough. Be careful, of course. If like everyone picks up on a dude, it can get spicy. And you never want to be like the guy who's drafting the darling high. But again, at 53, he's certainly not that.
I would not expect. Do not expect him to beat Chris Godwin, though. I would say
he's going 3 picks over McMillan.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like that's cheap to me.
He can be cheap, but Godwin did sign a $66 million contract. So
that means they like him a little.
It means they like him.
He might be part of their offensive passing plan.
He might. He did catch 5 passes in every game he appeared in last year, 50 yards.
Godwin's a great player.
4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns in 7 games. 4. It was something like that.
Especially in like the 32 team fantasy league where one injury and your life is over. I will not be the guy betting on somebody who's walking in not 100% with an ankle issue who's 30 years old. Also, I will say
most leagues aren't 32.
Godwin is. Most leagues aren't 32. That's a fair point. And second off, I do think that being wide receiver 2, like if he had 5-6 touchdowns in 7 weeks, that's a pace that's not going to keep up all year. So his upside might be a little bit lower than that unless he puts up like a 14 touchdown season, in which case, my fault. But
yeah, I think he's a very average pick at where he's being picked. It's not bad. It's not terrible. But I would say that he is going to affect. I do not expect Egbuka to just like walk in and like Godwin's not a thing anymore.
Yeah. Oh no. That would be insane for that to happen. Theo, who do you have as your next sleeper?
Let me check my phone notes.
His phone.
Let me say I got a couple of running backs, but let me say K9, Kenneth Walker. I know we just were mean to the Seahawks last episode. So let's be a little bit rosier and say K9 here. Just because first of all, I'm so in love with the talent still. Like watching a little bit more Seahawks, seeing all the dancing that he does to make anything happen. It's honestly a miracle he's been as efficient as he's been. And he's been inefficient, but only a little bit. He's only been a little bit inefficient when he could be one of the worst starters in the league with how
really
often he's getting considering how much he's getting blown up in the backfield. And I understand that because that is his situation, and it's probably still is his situation, it's not necessarily something that people feel like investing a ton in. But I mean, he was 12th in fantasy points per game last year. He only played in 11 games, but he was smack dab between James Cook and Chuba Hubbard. And that was with Zach Charbonnet, eating into his carries a little bit. That was with the offensive line being so terrible. He still finds a way to get his because he's so goddamn explosive. Like, he is so elusive. He's just a beast running back with potential to be so much better than he's been so far in his career. So what that number tells me from last year is that there's still a floor there where even if the line is getting blown up, even if Charbonnet proves that he's worth something, even if, the play calling is such that they don't lean on him at all, like it's not even balanced, he's still getting a pretty good amount of fantasy points per game if he's going to finish, 12th? And now he's getting drafted as running back 15, 16, like 17. I think I'd rather have him than like Breece Hall. I'd rather have him than maybe, I don't know about James Cook.
I mean, you're saying he, like, in a stretch, he finished kind of between James Cook and Chuba Hubbard. Well, that's where he's getting drafted right now. But which honestly, I would be even fine to say that James Cook and Chuba Hubbard might be a little bit underrated here.
I don't think James Cook is, but I think with Walker, what it shows you is like there's a floor, and I just literally based on nothing statistically. Like, I don't know. I don't know what will happen to make him have like a 1,500 yard season besides like he is a dog. Like, he is a very good player. And if the scheme tweaks and the addition of Zabel makes things a little bit smoother for him, like he has upside just based on how talented he is. It really doesn't have much to do with the situation itself changing.
I won't disagree with the talent. I think he's really, really good. I know I saw a video of someone talking about his like yards after contact number not being that crazy, but I feel like that's one of those things where it's like if you play on a bad offense, you're getting swarmed. I just don't think the tape agrees with that. It's like the yards over some of those running back stats sometimes favor guys on good offenses a little bit too much in ways. The yards over expected, for example, which we always bring up, is one of those where if you're on a good offense, it just never quite calculates how much of an advantage that is. I just don't think that the Seahawks offense has improved enough for me to say that's going to be way better. I understand he did pretty well last year, but he also had like 7 touchdowns in 11 games, which is pretty good. And he's yet to play a 17-game season going into year 4. Maybe that's kind of a way to stretch out a 15-15 and 11-game 3-year run here. But I'm not the biggest fan of him because I still think the offense is going to be limited, and that limits his upside to me. If he's been in the league 3 years in a bad situation 3 years and hasn't had a crazy season for 3 years, I don't think that's going to change in year 4. Zabel might be a nice addition. Maybe they do become this like lean on the run game more team, but I wonder if even then it's like a committee could hurt him. There's a lot of ways that this could not pan out to the high end. So I'm not as big a fan. I will say I'm also like not the highest on Breece Hall, who I think is going to be in a bad offense. Or James Cook had really great touchdown luck last year, I know, and that makes me a little bit nervous about him because I think he's being drafted generally where I guess in half PPR he was running back 8. He's being drafted as 13 right now, so take that for what you will. But I don't know. I don't like a lot of the mid-level, like the round 2 or the sort of, I don't want to say 10 to 20, but kind of 10 to 20 running backs make me more nervous than anything.
You don't want to say 10 because 10 is Bucky.
Well, I'm seeing that 9 is Bucky, although.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at half PPR.
Oh, I'm looking at standard. I don't know.
I think there's a lot there that's mid, and that's why K9 and his talent kind of intrigues me. And I think Zabel and Kubiak actually having chops in the run game that like Grubb was just such a terrible run game design. Like going from grub to a Shanahan tree guy is going to be a pretty good addition for Walker. And then Kamara, he had 89 targets last year in that offense. So, and Walker is not a bad receiver either.
Kamara is interesting, absolutely, especially in PPR stuff. I mean, I think he's going to see the ball a ton. So he's one of the guys in that more mid-range that I think I like more. And also Jonathan Taylor at 11, I think is pretty decent. Although shout out Giddens, sneaky handcuff. I wish he was in a situation where I thought he was going to get the ball.
Shout out Jonathan Taylor. You should take him first overall if it's not a PPR league or a half PPR league. But if it is a half PPR league, then yeah, ninth makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I
do kind of like James Conner more than like some of these other running backs at the mid-level, like over like maybe Kyron and Breece Hall. I agree with you, Matt. Ken Walker. I'd probably take James Conner over K9.
Ooh.
I don't know, man. James Conner he's very consistent.
He's super.
Connor's very consistent, and I like the Cardinals' offense. He is getting up there. I don't think he had like a super crazy year last year. Like, okay, let me put it this way. 20 is not crazy when you're dealing with staving off, like getting pretty old, and you finished 14 last year and half. Like, that makes sense to me. I think that's about fair. I don't hate him, though. Okay, so I guess there's a number of guys between 10 and 20 that I like. But I'd say there's at least 5 or 6 dudes here. Maybe we'll say 5 where I'm like, oof, I don't know. I just might not end up grabbing them. But maybe that's too restrictive of a draft strategy.
Connor's fine, I think. He's just, like, we know what he is at this point, and I think Walker has a chance to actually blow up. And Benson should eat a little bit more into Connor's workload, I'd say. Like, Benson has been good when he's out.
Where is Benson getting drafted?
Benson is getting drafted down at running back. I have them all written down, but no easy way to search it.
Running back 50 from what I see. Just above Nick Chubb, shout out.
Mm-hmm.
He's Rico Dowdle, shout out.
Well, I would take Trey Benson above Rico Dowdle with ease. How about that?
Okay.
I take it the century.
What about Tyler Algier, man? What about Tyler?
I like Tyler Algier. I think he's a good sleeper.
RB53.
I agree. If anything were to happen to Bijan, Algier would be crazy value.
Braylon Allen is over there with the Jets. Isn't he going to get an amount of work that'll cut into Hall? Hall's going way high at 13. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we can get into Hall.
Algier did finish RB51 last year, so maybe that is fair value.
I don't have it in me to call any of like guys who are sort of somewhere in between a handcuff and like a true committee guy, like my sleepers or anything, but I definitely wouldn't feel as comfortable drafting Hall that high because I think Allen's pretty talented. I think he's pretty good. And again, I don't trust the Jets offense at all. Although I will say we brought up Justin Fields earlier. I know it's tempting. Like, my first reaction is like, the Fields at 11, dude. Like, I don't even think he's like good, but they gave him a good amount of money. And even last year, like through 6 weeks, he was like quarterback like 6. So him going at 11,
really,
running backs,
not that great. Yeah.
Running quarterbacks are a hack, and maybe that's I
didn't realize he finished that high.
The deal with Breece as well, because the offensive line is good, and Justin Fields will draw attention. So it could be pretty smooth sailing for any of the running backs in that situation next year. But will the passing offense be good enough that they're actually in the red zone scoring touchdowns?
18 last year. Maybe did he not score a ton of touchdowns or whatever? But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, dude, I'm betting on Jets touchdowns. Right. That's my big play. That's already like kind of priced in at 13. I don't know. I don't want to be too.
It was making me a little upset to see. I was seeing Devin Neal start to rise up a little bit on the draft rankings. He's, I think, in
your
the
influence.
60. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have said anything. But yeah, he's creeping near the top 60 now in terms of running backs. So I'm not going to end up getting him, and it's going to break my heart. And
that's how it goes.
It's how it goes. But
I got one more sleeper for us.
Okay.
And then do we want to get to the bust?
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle Williams for the Patriots.
I knew that was coming. I knew that.
I think he's awesome. He was somebody who I really liked. Third round capital isn't crazy, but the situation is incredibly favorable in terms of like if he's talented, he can win out and he can get a ton of targets if he's good. To me, I like him. I think he instantly is clearly a special mover. I don't know what his numbers were, but his film makes him out to be like a pretty uniquely quick and fast guy. But I think as a deep threat, what made me excited about him is he has some nuance to his route running already. He's not somebody who is like just fast and nothing else, and they get hyped up as a deep threat, and then they get in the league, and it's like, sorry, just didn't cut it enough. To me, Williams has like real, I'm a good wide receiver juice. And on top of that, like after the catch, he's a really great player too. I think Diggs could end up being okay, but I don't even know if you wanted Kyle Williams to do good, I don't even know if you'd want Diggs to play poorly, right?
No.
There is, yeah, right? Like,
if Diggs plays poorly, the offense will be bad, and there will be more punting, right? And that doesn't bode. Punting doesn't get
on
Kyle
top
Williams.
of that, like, I think
it's bad for fantasy. I agree.
It's hard to argue. Demario Douglas is there, who's somebody who I like a decent amount, but I also really like Drake May. I'm super high on him. We think he's really good. So to me, I see Kyle Williams as a talented player with a role that could really like pop off early, going into an offense that is both winnable in terms of targets, even for a third rounder, that also has a good QB. I might not think the Patriots are going to win like a crazy number of games or anything, but I do think at wide receiver 62, currently going below, although I'm sure this won't hold up, Keenan Allen. I'll go ahead and take
Keenan is not on a team.
That's what the website says, bro. It's going below Quentin Johnston. You know, I'm interested in Kyle Williams, so I'm betting on what I liked about him pre-draft.
And Kyle Williams isn't the only Patriot that I would be a little high on. Or even another rookie, Travion Henderson. I think he could be. I don't know if he's undervalued right now. He's getting drafted like RB24, which is probably pretty fair. But I think in general, he's a guy that I at least like at his value, if not a little bit higher.
I'm actually kind of surprised that he hasn't gotten more hype, if I'm being completely honest with you. I feel like there's kind of a disconnection between how much hype he got pre-draft, where it's like there was a good number of people saying he should be a first-round back.
Yep.
A lot of people had him overhand. Like, it's not an unpopular take. I feel like it got maybe not 50.
Some people on this podcast had him overhand.
Some people on this podcast.
They did.
And then it's like he goes to a situation where it's like Ramondre Stevenson's cool, but he's not anything that should scare you. It's like he didn't get first-round capital actually, but he almost did. And he's a receiving threat and, you know, a big play threat. So I don't hate him at 25 at all. I'm kind of surprised that that he's not getting a little bit.
I do think Stevenson being listed as the ESPN RB1 is playing a role into that. I think once it gets announced, like if we see like the statement, oh, Henderson is the RB1, or if he like has I guess most drafts will be done by like the time preseason comes around. So like it'll probably be too little too late. But like if he were to go off in preseason, I think people would be like, oh shit, let me go snatch this guy. But
yeah. No, I'm with you with Henderson. I mean, these days RJ Harvey gets taken above him.
Dude.
In terms of rookie running backs. I'd rather have Henderson than RJ Harvey.
Yeah, it's RJ Harvey. There's DeAndre Swift is getting taken above him.
I'd rather have Henderson than Swift, definitely.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you have to believe in talent a little bit more than that, right? Man, I don't know. I guess we still don't know about the Patriots offense, and that matters. But
yeah, I mean, even a Marion Hampton, I would say. Najee is a much more intimidating guy to steal targets away than Ramondre. I mean, Ramondre was one of the worst running backs in the league last year.
Or like Judkins going 3 picks later. I mean, maybe this is a stupid way to put it. Or 3 running backs later. Like I think I think Henderson, like at least with the Patriots, we don't know. I kind of think the Patriots offense could be all right. I'm almost certain the Browns offense is going to suck and going to throw a ton.
And their run game is going to be terrible. And I
drafted multiple running backs. It's not like Judkins has absolutely zero competition. So
Jerome Ford improved a lot last year.
Shout out to him.
The vision for Judkins would be that like Jerome Ford might be the every down back, and then Judkins gets a lot of goal line touches.
Where are they taking Ford, bro?
But if
Ford, I thought about him as a sleeper, but then I had too many Browns written down.
Ooh, Ford's at 58. I don't hate that, but you know who's a pick above him? Jalen Wright. Now, shout out to Jalen Wright. I don't have him on my list, but
where's Dylan Sampson, the other Browns running back?
Sampson,
he's got to be at like the 70.
He's in between Rico Dowdle and Jerome Ford, so people don't really know what
Martinez is running back 85. Wake up.
Wake up, he's saying.
Well, below Audric Est. Okay, I'm not going to get into arguments about running backs, but
no, actually, respect Audric Estime. First of all,
I think I don't know. It is what it is. I don't think Estime is.
No, you just gotta.
Guy is low on running back 80.
Yeah, I'm not too optimistic about Estime having a huge season.
Yeah, more from me, man.
More for you, yeah.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
You got it.
Do we want to move into the bust?
Let's get into it. Theo, who is your first bust? Who are you very low on that everyone else?
Am I very low on? How about white wide receivers?
White wide receivers in general.
Just generally.
Well, I'm gonna have to immediately say that Ladd is not somebody who it's okay to be low on.
Look, Ladd is not someone that I'm low on, but I think I was looking into it and his fantasy ranking doesn't make mathematical sense.
How do you mean?
I mean that he's above Tyreek Hill by 1.
He was above Tyreek Hill last year.
He was. And then he's also above, who's the next guy?
A.J. Brown.
Could be.
T. Higgins.
Mike Evans. JSN. But what I was wondering was he's got worse odds to get 1,000 yards than those guys. So then it to me became a math thing. It's like, how does Vegas think that these other guys below him are statistically more likely to have a better season? But Ladd is getting drafted first in fantasy because Tyreek Hill has better odds to get 1,000 yards, better odds to get 1,250, better odds to win, offensive player of the year, whatever it is. But he's below Ladd in fantasy. And there are a couple guys around Ladd's range that's true for. So I thought Ladd, as much as I like him, and I think his odds are good on like FanDuel and stuff like that, where he's being taken in fantasy doesn't quite line up.
That's not an unfair way to look at it, seeing the difference between where Vegas has guys and where the fantasy community has guys, for sure. I think that people are still kind of like iffy on Ladd's talent. They don't like that he's not a big outside guy. And I think there's a number of people who are like, he's good, but it was still a lot of situation. My take is that I just think Ladd is a really great player who's really hard to guard, who's really good getting in and out of his breaks, and he's one of the better route runners in the NFL. I think that Trey Harris being good, to me, I view it as like, if he is, it opens things up more. Maybe it's like, maybe the concern is that you get Harris out there and he takes a handful of targets that otherwise wouldn't have, and they still are going to run the ball a ton because it's, the Chargers and they got Hampton and whatnot. Like, okay, I can understand it, but I don't hate Ladd as ADP, man. I think he's a great player with a great quarterback, and he's still easily going to be wide receiver 1 there.
Yeah, I mean, Quentin Johnston still got 91 targets last year, right? And he was bad.
Yeah, I kind of think those outside shots might stay a little consistent unless we think Harris is going to be really, really crazy, which is not the worst bet in the world. I don't hate it. He's not going that high at all. Like wide receiver 60. So I understand that. I think Herbert's a great quarterback. That's not a bad offense to be in, even if they don't throw a ton.
But the other white wide receivers are Cooper Kupp. And
Cup, I'll give you.
Kupp, I just think has fallen off so significantly over the last few years. And I don't think there is any chance that we see the old Kupp. And I think, again, at his ADP, there are other wide receivers around it that I'd rather take. I'd rather have Matthew Golden.
I agree.
I'd rather have Keon Coleman. I'd rather have...
Yeah, I think so.
Worse offense, older guy, like,
yeah,
you know,
I'd rather
injury issues. I would much rather bet on... I'd much rather bet on, like, young guys who could potentially, like, have big years.
I'd rather have Jacoby Myers.
Absolutely.
So
Jacoby Myers is underrated. Yes, absolutely.
Nice. At 42,
No?
that's fair.
No?
The Raiders threw so much last. That's why he's Jerry Jeudy. And he's getting discounted. He's getting discounted about as much as Jerry Jeudy. Almost exactly as much, honestly.
Really?
But you know what? I think, and the Browns are going to throw a lot next year.
No,
probably.
I feel like he's getting discounted way more.
No, it's about the same. Myers at 42, Jeudy at 35.
Yeah, but
I'm still taking both of them.
They
over
finished
Cooper
neck
Kupp.
and neck in points per game. Yeah, I would take both of them over Kupp also.
But
Sure.
And then Ricky Pearsall is another white guy. I don't mind Ricky Pearsall actually, but I'd rather have Josh Downs. I'd rather have Josh Downs.
Shout out Josh Downs, man.
So
Josh Downs would be my sleeper number one. I'd be standing up and saluting right now. But the quarterback situation there is just so bad. Like, it could get down again. We've gone over this several times, but like it can get down to like single digit completion crap where it's like it's just not enough, even if Downs is a beast, and he is a beast. And one of these days, Downs will get on a team that either throws the ball a lot or has a quarterback who is like ranked 16th or something, and it will be very, very special. And that year we're hitting the big red button in every draft we do, but this is not that year. My question, however, there's one white boy you're forgetting about.
There's two white boys that I do like, which is Jack Besh and Alec Pierce.
Okay.
So I guess this isn't even wrong.
Right. And I like Alec Pierce as wide receiver 74. Screw it at that point. If
Richardson wins
74 could matter.
Yeah, if Richardson wins the starting job, Pierce is a steal. If Jones wins the starting job, Pierce is not a steal. That's what I would say. So I guess when I think of, I shouldn't say white wide receivers and be racist. I should really just say Cooper Kupp. I don't want to draft Cooper Kupp. The other ones are fine, I guess.
Fair enough.
Pearsall, I think I'd still take Hill over.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Kupp. Absolutely, I'm totally out on the guy at this.
The little lad. But I do like lad. As we talked about in our prop bet episode, like if he stays healthy, and he has been banged up over the course of his career, especially at Georgia, if he stays healthy, he could have he really could have a big year. He'll be all right. Yeah,
that's lad, man.
Stay out, legend.
I'll give you one of my busts, and it's from my own dear old Panthers. Chuba Hubbard is going at running back 17 right now, and I understand why. Panthers' offensive line is pretty good. Like, their run game last year was good. Hubbard absolutely was very strong for them last year. He's improved as much as you'll see a running back improve over the course of his career. This isn't a shot at him. But my suspicion is that the Panthers were giving Hubbard such a high percentage of the touches because the backup situation of like Sanders and Blackshear was so bad, rather than Hubbard was just so dominantly good that he earned like a lion's share of the workload. I think them bringing in both Rico Dowdle and ETN, who like they spent a 4th round pick on, to me signals like they're actually pretty serious about going to committee work. And if that's the case, I don't think it's impossible that he gets demoted into like really serious, like one of the bigger committees. On top of that, he had 10 rushing touchdowns, which is a pretty strong number, and I think that could possibly decline. So I would be a little bit nervous taking a guy who I think finished as like running back, like he wasn't quite a running back one, as like a mid running back two, when the team has made a pretty conscious effort to maybe move him down I don't want to say down the totem pole, to create more of a committee, right? And the upside, I feel like, was what he did last year. I just am not confident that he could beat what he did last season. It's not that much higher than his ADP, but I can easily see the path to him being a low-end running back too. So he's not a terrible pick, but it's just to me, the Panthers' moves have made it clear what they want to do, and it's not good for Hubbard fantasy.
Yeah. I still think he's a pretty damn good back, though. Like, I view him as such a single player.
Back.
Like, it's not going to be a home run move.
Oh, he's a solid back. Let's not get it twisted. But you know what? I think Rico Dowdle's like a pretty good player, too. I think he's good, man. ETN, I'm only so on, but I think the continued investment, and they didn't give, I don't know, maybe I don't remember Rico Dowdle's contract, but they didn't give Rico like nothing, no?
No. And he had 1,000 yards last year, albeit
like he's a good
they force-fed him against 3 really bad run defenses at the end of last season.
We don't care.
I don't think he's like a superstar in disguise or anything like
they gave
that.
$3 million. Maybe that's not that crazy.
Yeah. Chuba is kind of the last stop on the like starting running back train before things start to get really scary too.
Yeah.
So like you could maybe hold on to running back and like take Chuba as kind of your main guy because you're like stacking up on wide receiver or you're taking a tight end like I'm advising or something. And then you're like, phew, I got Chuba before it turns into DeAndre Swift, Caleb Johnson, Isaiah Pacheco, like type guys.
Yeah, I see your vision. I do see Omari and Hampton going a spot below him and like dude.
Yeah, I can see people in his.
But Hampton has to deal with his own committee stuff. But like, I just think Hampton's a lot better than Najee Harris, and the first round capital speaks for itself on some level.
Does Najee Harris have an eye? Do we know this? Have we seen him at Oh yeah, he does have his eye. Okay.
What?
What do you mean?
Well, he fireworks blew up in his face, and he had an eye.
That's what it was,
or something. And then there was a rumor. There was a rumor on Twitter from like this like random ass account that says like Najee has lost his eye, and then like a couple hours later, it broke that he had a mysterious eye injury, and then people were like, "Oh my god, did he really lose his eye?" But no, he did. He did not lose his eye.
I don't know. Harris has just never quite moved me, I think. And Hampton was my guy. So I think that's going to be how that running back room ends, is with Hampton taking over the workload. And I think it's a really good position to be in because I think the Chargers are going to run the ball a lot. So there's a pretty big pie there too. But yeah, I just think the Panthers are going to be more committee this year.
Fair enough. Blaiden?
I don't even know if I fully believe this.
Good way to start any take.
Okay. No, it's just like my head is telling me one thing, my heart's telling me something else. But I'm feeling like Mahomes might be a little too high here at QB6. Like, he finished QB 11 last year. And while there's some guys who finished higher than him that I'm like, he could finish higher than them this year, like Darnold, Nix, maybe Goff. Like I could see him finishing above guys, like maybe those guys finish a little bit lower this year. I also feel like it's possible that a guy like Geno finishes higher than he did. It's possible that Caleb Williams is better or Jordan Love, like those guys could finish higher. And so I kind of feel like Mahomes at 11 is probably about where he'll finish again. So I don't know. I just feel like QB6 is just a little bit too rich for my blood right now with Patty Mahomes. Even though like you know what you're getting with Mahomes, like he's probably not going to sell your season by any means because he's just a good quarterback. But Like I probably do like Baker more than him. I probably like Kyler more than him. Caleb. I might like a lot of these guys who finished above Mahomes last year are getting discounted, but Mahomes is taking like this pretty massive leap. I feel like that doesn't.
The idea is that his receivers will be better, right?
I guess
that's that. I'm
like
not
you
even
need to
disagreeing
step
with
from
you.
Worthy.
I'm
you
just
getting
saying.
Rice back. Yeah,
You're buying into the Worthy and the Rashee Rice breakouts, right? Because it's clear that Mahomes is not immune to having a bad supporting cast in terms of like a fantasy perspective. That we know for a fact. This has been multiple years running, in fact, that we've known that, right?
yeah.
And Rice is obviously like has
In jail.
you know, like he's in jail. And I kind of think it's hard to hate Mahomes as a pick, but like, yeah, even at quarterback 6, I don't know where that compares to quarterback like 11 in terms of selection. Mahomes is pick 54 versus you could get, you know, the quarterback 12 at 94. That's a pretty big difference. And yeah, I think there's other dudes who have good paths to like throwing for a lot of yards or rushing a ton. So
Yeah.
if
Like
you wanna
again,
bet
we're
in the
talking
Chiefs
about Dak. Dak is coming in at pick 93. I'd
my
much
thought
rather.
my thought is this: if we're betting in the Chiefs wide receivers, maybe we could just bet on the Chiefs wide receivers, just draft them. You know what I mean? Rather than take Mahomes, which is basically a similar bet on some level. I can't quite get myself to hate Mahomes entirely because maybe he's just capable of having a great year, but they've been trending in the wrong directions in terms of an explosive offense. And I do think that Worthy is taking a step in the right direction. I do think Rice would change the offense, but man, there's some questions there right now. So
Right.
I see your vision
Like
on that.
I can get behind like Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, Juju is like a big 4, and then of course you've got Kelsey still, but like
Big 4. Juju with Hollywood even. I can get behind their big 2.
I can get behind the 3 of Hollywood, Rice, and Worthy. And Kelsey, but there's no Juju.
Kelsey. There's no Juju.
There's no Juju.
Kelsey's really starting to get up there too. I'm getting pretty worried about.
I mean,
that.
we can call Kelsey in this section.
That's
like,
what that was the next guy I was gonna throw out there was like, how do you feel
he
about
was
Kelsey
tight end 11
6?
in terms of points per game. He's getting drafted, or that's in standard, so maybe I should go to half. But he was tight end. Okay, he was 6.5, but like he's being drafted considerably. Like he's still being drafted at 6. I don't know if his like upside is that crazy. His downside is obvious, which in the case that he's just getting really old. Frankly, as a Kelsey bro who feels like I always have to argue about like whether or not he's truly good, my fear is that this is the year where he's just going to be washed and everyone's just mad at him all season.
We're getting into retirement.
He sucks.
We're getting into retirement territory.
I mean, he could have retired this off season, right? So
yeah, but you can't go out on that bad of a loss, I think.
Yeah, Noah Gray is an analytics darling behind him too.
Shout out Noah Gray.
Noah Gray would be a big fantasy sleeper if Kelsey retired.
Where's Noah Gray getting drafted right now, man?
I don't know, but Kelsey's still there, so I'm
38. I think 85. He's very 32 team league relevant.
Oh yes,
that's fair. But as long as Kelsey is still there, I think that the Noah Gray breakout won't happen. But that doesn't mean that people should be taking Kelsey over T.J. Hawkinson.
Let me ask: would you
or anywhere near Sam Laporta?
Oh no. Would you rather have Travis Kelce or Tyler Warren?
I would rather have Travis Kelce than Tyler Warren.
Okay.
I'd go Kelce too. Warren is a mega oddball in terms of like how he could be used, but
I
have no faith in the Colts offense.
I thought about making him a bust because I'm just like, I just don't know like what's the plan to get him involved. But like then there's a world where it's literally just like we're just gonna get him like you could do like Wildcat with him and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he's the one guy that I'm not so worried about how they'll get him the ball in the like I don't know how efficient those things will be, but they should be able to get.
Yeah, but
the
like,
ball in
man,
his hands.
they lost some offensive linemen, and then if it's like Daniel Jones is probably not scaring defenses and taking attention quite the same way that Richardson was. Like,
Sure.
I don't dislike where Taylor's being taken, but like just in general,
Yeah,
I
could be talked into
Kelsey
Kelsey below Ingram and Njoku.
Yeah. And Loveland?
No, not Loveland. Definitely not Loveland. As
Although
good as I think Loveland's good. Yeah, I do too. I just think like Komet is still there.
There's a lot of guys.
There's
It's
a lot
hard
of-
to know how that offense.
He's
is
a
gonna
rookie
shake
tight
out.
end. Like,
Cole Kmet, tight end 32? Really?
Okay, I will say this: like,
is that surprising?
they drafted Loveland at 10, man. And
That's true.
You guys and Blaiden, you had Loveland
I
as your
love
tight end
Loveland.
1. I know he's a rookie, but like I believe his route running is just very real. I think that's going to translate, and his draft position is very real. If you're in like a 12 team and you get Loveland like kind of sneaky late as your backup, I think that's a lot of fun. I think that's very
I agree.
Komet
fun
was
move to
tight at
make.
19, and that I think that's all kind of taken into account there with Love.
Because I mean, Laporta had a huge rookie season. Who was his OC? It's not impossible for that to be kind of a sleepery, like really nice pick. And truly, the talent that Loveland has as a receiver is incredibly real. And if he had played for like a team that could have run a real offense last year in college, he may be higher.
Like he has a real
right
quarterback.
You know, Jonnu Smith at tight end 12. What do you guys think about that?
Fine with me.
In Pittsburgh.
You think he's going to get enough screens? I guess probably he can, but like I don't trust that offense at all.
I don't trust it that much, but I think I think that he could be productive. He was so good last year, just catching little dump offs, and like he's so good after the catch. He's so crazy good after the catch.
He is.
So with where he's being taken, I like Jonnu Smith, and I do like Loveland as well, especially in Dynasty. If you're a Dynasty person, take Colston Loveland. Like he's the best player that Michigan has had during the Harbaugh run, best offensive player that Michigan has had during the Harbaugh run.
Yep.
Pretty easily. Now that I'm looking back on it, like who else would even be there? Nico Collins there?
Yeah, Nico Collins would be the other guy I thought.
But he didn't go 10th overall. Like he
didn't go 10th
Colston
overall,
Loveland
but
was
he
like
was a
clearly
baller
the
in
best
college.
player on the
Shut up.
field. Like
Dalton
watching
Kincaid above Colston Loveland. I don't know.
Loveland was such a better prospect than Kincaid, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think so. Yeah, I like Loveland a good amount.
I do, but I wouldn't take him straight up over Kelsey even still.
No.
Yeah. But how about another Bears player that will be a bust, and I could see people just cutting after they draft him? It is Luther Burden the third. Just looking at it more, I just don't see how he gets like that much production this year.
Where is he being drafted is my first question. He's going at wide receiver 54, so that's pretty dang late. It is in range of like a lot of the other young receivers, right? So Egbuka, Higgins, Burden, Harris are all going within like a 7-pick stretch. So for deeper leagues, I think it's a worthy conversation. Which one of those guys are worthy bets? Which one of those guys not so much? To me, like, yeah, I look at some of those offenses and I see Higgins, who has like a very clear path to being like the wide receiver 2 with a good quarterback. Like, okay, totally makes sense. Or Trey Harris, where it's like the role should be very winnable and the quarterback play is good. Or I see Egbuka, better offense, and I think just a better prospect with better draft capital. I don't hate Burden, but I think I'm kind of in your corner here where it's like,
yeah,
he's walking in as wide receiver 3, not even the number 1 receiving prospect taken. And the offense, I think, will be better, but it isn't even a sure thing.
Right. I mean, we think about how the Bears are going to live. Is it going to be in 12 personnel with Komet and Loveland, or is it going to be 13 with not 13, 11 with Burden and Moore and Adunze, obviously. Either way they choose to live, like Burden is the last guy in the picking order, I think. And if it's 12, like how much will he even be on the field? And when he is on the field, how good is he going to be? Because he's such a limited route runner. He's just somebody who catches underneath stuff and gets yak, I think, early in his career. Like, he really struggles getting around contact. Like, he just doesn't have very clean breaks and stems compared to the other guys coming out this year. Like, I think he's got good feet and he's explosive and he can win maybe vertically, but I think he lacks so much polish right now. So how good is he going to be as a rookie anyway? So when you're looking at, filling out your bench, I think it's going to be tempting to see Burden and be like, man, he's got a ton of potential, because he does have a ton of potential. But I think this year as a rookie, before we know how things have shaken out, yeah, there are some other young players that I might rather have. And then there are some vets too, like Marvin Mims in Denver. Like, we know, like, he had a breakout season last year. Before that, he wasn't very good for fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
For Burden, he might be in that beginning stage where he is pre-breakout. I'd rather have maybe even like a Hollywood Brown with the Chiefs if Rashee Rice is going to be suspended. Keon Coleman, I already mentioned with the Bills. Like, I'm pretty high on him. He's still only 22 years old in a really high-powered offense and didn't have a great season last year, but it wasn't like too disappointing that to make me think like, oh, well, it's never going to happen for him.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman is the number one target probably in at least in the receiving core. Yeah, you're right. I'd still rather have Bateman than Luther Burden. I think he's got a better chance to stick around and not give you, like, Burden is almost guaranteed to give you like 0 point weeks, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess this is like, how low are you willing to go here? Like, there's Leggett and Quentin Johnston.
I think I'd rather have Quentin Johnston than
really
than Burden.
I don't know. I think the Chargers are a team that wants to run a lot, that also drafted like basically a Johnston replacement. I think there's some world where Johnston still gets a little bit more work than you expect. And he was like, I mean, what did he finish last year? He was decently relevant. He finished.
Yeah, he had 91 targets last year.
Us. Like, okay, fine. He can be like kind of a loose flex or whatever. But they drafted basically like the guy to do what he's currently doing.
Right.
I understand wanting to bet on like a highly touted rookie over some dude like that. With Leggett, his flaw is just too clear. If he cleans up the hands stuff, I think he could be really interesting. But like his hands are just too bad to be fantasy relevant in his current situation.
Or what about Like, I guess Besh you already kind of mentioned, but Besh is also a second round pick.
Besh is 63, right? And his situation is so much better in terms of like just getting on the field. So yeah, there's some truth to that. I totally agree. I just see with Burden, he wasn't somebody who I was like overly crazy about. And it does feel like the snap count is immediately your number one concern. And when we're doing that, where I don't even feel like that with Egbuka, because maybe early in the year, but I don't know how much they're going to go like 2 tight end or whatever.
They will probably be 3 wide receiver sets a lot of the time.
Yeah. I still think Burden's got a shot to be good down the line. I just think this rookie year, while DJ Moore is still in town and things are kind of falling into place, like I do think he's going to find himself as the odd man out to begin his career.
And if I'm betting on like Ben Johnson got his guy and he said, I'm going to go out, I'm just going to get Loveland. I'm not going to be like, who's the second guy that he got, right? I understand the allure is like he couldn't resist taking a wide receiver, even though he like didn't really need one, but I'd say that about Loveland. Like, he really picked Loveland super duper high, and I think that speaks to.
Yeah,
I would take Loveland over Warren in fantasy.
I think he's getting projected over Warren right now, isn't he?
I'm looking at half PPR. I'm seeing Warren above Loveland.
Yeah, I see Warren above Loveland, but in the same tier where
I just think Loveland's early receiving upside is way better. And again, I don't trust the Colts offense, but
oh my God, yeah, it's a pretty good bit above Loveland. It's like 10 picks.
Yeah.
How you feeling about Kyle Pitts this year? That's such.
He's a perfectly fine.
Manny, clip that. Manny, clip
Cut
that.
that out, man. I'm sorry. I've been staring at his name too long. Tight end 17.
Look,
Shout out to him.
if you get him with the 145th pick in the draft, it's like probably not going to sink your season. I think I might rather have Brenton Strange a few rounds later, though.
The pit scope, bro. If he's
Look, I'd rather have Brenton Strange a couple rounds later. I'd rather have Darren Waller as your Mr. Irrelevant.
give me
But
Gesicki, man.
Gesicki?
Sure, give me Gesicki.
I don't know. I mean, I'd rather have Gesicki. I'd rather take Gesicki later than Pitts earlier.
That's what I'm saying.
Give me
Yeah.
Dallas
So I guess,
Goedert.
yeah.
Give me
Gesicki.
Cade Otton.
Cade Otton's nice.
Give me Jatavion, my fault. Jatavion Sanders at tight end 30.
Give me Isaiah Likely, big dog.
Jatavion's going to be special. I actually do kind of believe.
Here's the
What about Aurora at tight end 32? If you're in a crazy deep league,
They are saying
let go
that
of
they think
Fant.
he could run an X route tree. He's
come on,
the
man.
DK replacement.
They've done nothing. To be fair, they've done nothing but like show insane faith in him, right? I mean, Fant's not on the team anymore, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
At 32, for 32 team leagues, we're tapping our chin and thinking about it.
We are tapping our chin and thinking. I mean, we are tapping our chin and thinking. Yeah, I mean,
Here's the
sure.
real question.
Why not?
Which Cleveland Browns quarterback do you think will be the most fantasy relevant?
Shador, because he's the main character of the world.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of screw it. I guess
Shador or Flacco. It's one of those two. The other guys
Yeah.
just don't have the juice.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Kenny
completely
Pickett just
agree.
took all of the first team reps today in 11 on 11.
Kenny
so-
Pickett has a 60% career win rate.
It would be so funny if it was Pickett week 1.
Dude,
I think that's
he's-
the funniest outcome.
he probably has a higher career win rate than Joe Flacco at this point.
I mean, how many games has he started?
Like,
He
probably
does.
like
He's won like
20.
60% of his games or something, right? Didn't you tweet that out, Theo?
yeah, he's won 60% of his
There you go.
games. It's pretty good. What's Flacco at? And Flacco,
I don't know. I feel like Flacco won a lot in Baltimore.
he definitely
Yeah,
did.
but they weren't consistently that great.
Okay, Flacco's
He's
at
been- but he's been-
55%. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
Pickett.
been in Cleveland for a little bit too long, buddy.
He won.
Oh, well, no, he actually had a good win. My fault.
Most of that is he only won one game with the Jets. He was 1-8 as a starter with the Jets, 2-4 with the Colts, and then 2-6 with Denver.
Typical.
But he's 4-1 with the Browns.
How old? is
even
Joe
with
Flacco at
even with the Ravens, his win percentage wasn't 60%. That's how high
I
Pickett is at.
good
Maybe Pickett
Lord,
should start,
Flacco.
man.
It really does feel like 2016 or 17 Cleveland again. This is crazy. Their quarterback room is just nuts.
It's so bad.
I knew Flacco was ancient, and I still forgot he was 40.
He's
years old.
40, and guess what? Rodgers is 41.
He's 40. Yeah, but Rodgers is that's almost different.
I'm 40.
All right. Shout out to
Jim Mora, is that who said that? Or is he playoffs? No, it was the college coach. It's for Oklahoma State.
I'm seeing Joe
40.
Milton.
Write that about me. You're putting
Right. That's
Yeah.
a classic quote. That's
Mike
a great
Gundy.
one.
Yeah. His whole
I'm
rant.
40.
A player who works is. I can't remember the whole thing. I should have that memorized. Don't write it
How
about
dare
a
you
player who
not have
comes
that
in here and works his ass off. If you're gonna write something, write something about me.
I get hyped up when I watch that one.
There's a TikTok of him doing that, and then there's a little guitar like in the background. It's like Midwest emo Mike Gundy rant, and it goes so hard. It goes so hard.
I don't know specifically what the reporters said, though. I know they were saying something about some dude dropping a pass. My memory is slipping me on this.
It goes.
But I don't.
I want to talk about this article right here. If anyone hasn't read this article, I don't read it. This was brought to me by a mother of children. I think it's worth reading. Let me tell you why I want to talk about this article. 3/4 of this is inaccurate. It's fiction. And this article embarrasses me to be involved with athletics tremendously. If you have a child someday, you'll understand how it feels, but you obviously don't have a child. I do. Your child goes down the street and somebody makes fun of him because he dropped a pass in a pickup game or says he's fat and he comes crying home to his mom. You'd understand, but you don't have that. If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. Yeah. Valid rant, maybe. I guess I don't know.
A mother of
You know what? I've never gone and I'm assuming there was some article hating on some dude for dropping a pass or whatever in like a big moment, right? That must have been. I've never known how bad
it's on Genius. This entire rant is on genius.com and it's annotated to give the context. It says this article was written by columnist Jenny Carlson of the Oklahoman. It's a column that was written in response to Oklahoma State head football coach Mike Gundy benching quarterback Bobby Reed in favor of Zach Robinson. However, the way the situation was framed by the journalist really struck a nerve with Gundy.
I always assume because of the drop a pass thing that someone had like dropped a key pass and someone had been mean about it. I never looked into it like at all.
Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches. Don't write about a kid that does everything right, that's heart's broken, and then said that the coaches said he was scared. That ain't true. And then to say that we made that decision because Donovan Woods, because he threatened to transfer, that's not true. So get your facts straight.
Get your facts straight.
Talk to him.
Bars. Talk to him. Talk your shit. Talk your shit. Do you guys have anyone else you want to talk about?
Not in particular.
Don't draft Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, draft Travion Henderson.
Do draft Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. at the top of your draft. If you don't want my tight end strategy and you have been convinced by Matt that taking a tight end with the 11th pick in the draft is bad, take Brian Robinson. Not Brian.
Take Brian Robinson.
I also wrote him down as a little bit underrated because there didn't really add anything to threaten him.
You heard it here first. Below. Take Brian Robinson at the top of the draft.
Take Brian Thomas Jr.
Malik Neighbors is so good.
Yes, take Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Take your pick. Probably Neighbors.
Where did we have him in the wide receiver rankings? Because I think Neighbors is just going to end up being a tier 1 wide receiver.
I think we had him as an honorable mention. I don't know.
We had Neighbors as an honor. I don't remember what I ranked him, so maybe that's
up
on
the list right now.
Maybe we did say 1 year. I'll be real with you. Neighbors is like the absolute truth, though.
Yeah, so the list was Jefferson, Chase, Brown, Lamb, Nakua, St. Brown, Collins, Hill, London, Thomas Jr. So Neighbors would have been at best an honorable mention.
I'm gonna throw up. Who ranked him that way?
We did. I fear, but if you guys want to,
we're sorry, Malik Neighbors. It's coming. He's gonna get an even manageable quarterback room at some point. That's going to be very special.
Russell Wilson,
it's going to be the greatest that one college has ever put one position group at one time in the NFL when it's him and Chase and Justin Jefferson. It's crazy how good LSU is at wide receiver right now, NFL-wise. Jeremiah Smith is going to have to catch 3,000 yards every year.
3,000 yards
to even this thing out.
When the Marv breakout and Jeremiah Smith being the GOAT and Egbuka,
Ohio State's consistency is unmatched.
It's
now, the
great.
Consistency here deserves a lot of credit, but Jesus, man.
Wait,
when
are you drafting Marv?
Breaks Jerry Rice's record, we'll be feasting.
It's the 37th pick in the draft, and Marvin Harrison is on the board. Do you take him?
I'd have to know who else is there. Maybe, man. Maybe. He's not somebody where I'm licking my chops at the breakout, if I'm being completely honest.
Would you rather have Marv or JSN?
JSN.
I think I go JSN.
Well,
I might rather have Marv than Devontae, though.
Adam.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Adams is old.
Adams is a little old. He's going to be nice for the Rams, but I think he's probably getting overdrafted a little bit in fantasy. Like he's going to be a bucket for sure, but I don't know if he's going to be a bucket that they go to like 150 times or anything.
Right. That's the kind of ask you need.
Or if he's going to be picking up like 60-yard chunks at a time or anything like that.
He picked up a few 60-yard chunks last year.
Did he really have a 60-yard play?
I thought he did have a 60-yard touchdown. I could be wrong about that.
His long was 71?
Yeah.
Shout out.
There we go.
And he had a 60-yard touchdown with the Raiders in 2022 as well.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. We'll be back to do more division rankings here soon. And we'll probably do some more draft style stuff for you guys because we know that that's always fun. But until next time, as always, from your three favorite fellas here on what I would say is at least someone's favorite podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, we will catch you on the Flippity Flop.